Hello, hello. Looks like we're coming online. So, welcome everyone to an art stream. Not specifically like a battle map art stream today. I'm trying to make a habit of doing practicing more, right? Because all of my art lately is just work, work, work. And I want to kind of exercise a little bit, do some studies. So I've been watching some videos and stuff, and lately I've been watching some cynics on YouTube. I hope I'm getting the name right. He's a very skilled digital artist, and he recommended a distillation practice, which is just an art study where you try and reproduce an image in just two tones. So let me open up. I did one yesterday off stream just as a practice. As I was doing it, I thought, this would make good streaming material. I can kind of talk about art and the thought process. Here we are. I think I can just, yeah, there we go. So yesterday's one, I got this old screenshot I took in The Witcher 3 and just produced this two-tone distillation. And so Witcher 3 yesterday, and today I've got a screen cap I took from the Elden Ring gameplay reveal. And yeah, I just like the shapes. I think we can do some interesting stuff here. And I believe I'm all set up with my keybinds and stuff. I've been trying to get a nice little tablet situation going. And I think I've achieved that. Just a little under the weather today, so I apologize if I'm not too chatty, but glad to see we've got some people tuning in. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, so this is my second one. I did a bunch of art study. Basically, how long ago was that? Man, like 2018. And it's just so helpful. Any artist you ask, they'll tell you you got to do your studies. But yeah, it's also one of those easy things to neglect. So, but here we are. We're going to make this a practice. And I realize I'm trying to start a new habit when I'm about to turn my life upside down, like moving and stuff. And that's pretty poor timing, but I figure we can kind of get the habit rolling. And I can always put it on hiatus when I do the big move and then get back to it later on. Yeah, I'm going to start with this very simple two-tone distillation. Do this for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, who knows, and then try and kind of graduate to full color studies as well. But it's just been so long since I did a study. I wanted to start with the bare basics. Hey, Ninjasin. Yeah, it's been a while since I streamed anything, so it's nice to see familiar names in the chat. I haven't lost everyone. Yeah, no maps today, no 2-minute maps today, but interesting stream, I hope. I think, like, I just made the new YouTube channel. I can see you're tuning in there right now. I think that's going to become kind of like Ross's art channel, not specifically a 2-minute tabletop channel. Because, yeah, I want to do, let's be honest, sometimes the maps that I'm working on are really, really boring. And this month is one of those cases. I'm just making some stone textures. So in months like this, I think this kind of stream will be much more interesting. I'm also going to just remove the figure. Maybe I'll come back and do the figure later, but for now, kind of need to pick up the pace because part of this study is trying to work at a decent pace. And we'll just kind of do this little area first to a basic degree, and work our way up. Now, if I were taking this seriously, I'd do some like perspective lines and whatnot, but not diving in that deep. I think I need a new point on this pen too, because it's getting real scratchy. I am cheating a little bit. It's supposed to be a monotone kind of distillation. Not a monotone, but like strictly two tones or two values. But I've picked this brush with a little bit of a middle value as well. Kind of cheating, but meh. Table Spire rings a bell. What is that? Table Spire. If it's a game with like cool screenshots, hey, I'll check that out. Pretty much picked this game arbitrarily because I had a look at my screenshots folder and I saw this. I'll use some Witcher screenshots as well since I have so many of those. Now, part of the purpose of this study is to think in shapes and not lines. So it'd be tempting just to line draw all of these tiles, but that's something I'm going to specifically avoid. We're just looking at light and shadow. And trying to remind myself every 10 seconds to pick up the pace. Because the point of these studies is that you can kind of knock one out in 30 minutes and then move on with your day, do some actual work, kind of like a warm-up, I guess. But if my warm-up takes me an hour or two, then it's not going to fly. I don't know what happens behind this guy, so we'll just kind of make it up. Also, I've kind of lost my sense of place, but we aren't trying to make a one-to-one replica. That's all right. Online Dwarven Forge. That's interesting. Oh, like a new virtual tabletop, which is kind of tactile. Have I indeed heard of that? I'm not sure. Definitely something to check out. Trees are especially intimidating with this kind of style, but let's step into this kind of gravestone section. So let me do a cheeky little correction here. Privilege of using a digital medium. Okay, really got to move faster. In fact, I need to just do one pass over the entire canvas and block in the major shapes. And then once we've got the composition spot on, then we can do like details, like these tiles down here. Maybe in the future I'll be more strict. I'll like have a timer in the bottom left or something. But we're being very forgiving right now. Yeah, this is Elden Ring. Just a screen cap I took of the gameplay reveal. This tree we might ignore. We'll see. It'll be when we step into the details. We may or may not keep it. But yeah, let's just do major shapes. We're allowed to completely ignore elements of this also. Hey Dennis, no, this is just an art study. This is what real artists do, like improve their skills, and it's something I've been neglecting for a long time, so I'm trying to work it back into my schedule. We'll ignore the leaves for now. That'll be something we come back to. And this is the key binding that I'm lacking right now, is an easy way to like manipulate the brush size. I need to set that up. You can see I'm working with a very large brush, even though I could just reach over here and drop it down a size. Yeah, so these gravestones here will separate these two shapes, which I've drawn here. Going to be in the negative space. So just darken it all, and then we come back in with the headstones. And we'll do more when I drop the brush size some more. It's going to be, if you're just tuning in now, this is the study I did yesterday. It's going to be very abstract because what's the word I'm looking for? The drill, the practice I'm doing is just strictly in like separating areas of light and dark. There's 2 trees here, maybe. Oh yeah, Magic the Gathering cards would be a fun source of content material. Yeah, I mostly chose this screenshot arbitrarily. When you use like people's photos, there's copyright concerns, but as far as I know, you can take a screenshot from a game and nobody's gonna hunt you down. So here we are. Plus, cool fantasy content. Kind of keeping it on brand in that way. Okay, there's way more happening back here. And I mustn't neglect the middle. I've been avoiding this big dragon for obvious reasons. Just kind of hint at the tree back here. We might not put any leaves on since we're just doing a study. Right, let's dive into the dragon before I run out of time. Like I said, I'm not strictly sticking to a timer yet, but in the future, I want to be more disciplined with that. So just kind of pretending I'm working to a timer. Okay, major. Well, his back arcs all the way up out frame, basically. I'm going to get rid of that for now. I wonder if we can get this to read as a dragon whatsoever. Going to come mostly in the wings here. Hmm. Dragon's a good case of I need to not just precisely follow what I'm looking at. I need to start making some decisions of my own. But I'll at least get the basic form in and then I'll do that. Yeah, Dennis, this is a great place to start with digital painting. Uh, for me, I think I lean very heavily on line art, and you can have a whole artistic career just doing line art, obviously, but I find painting fascinating, so I want to branch out, kind of extend my skill set. And obviously, you know, my battle maps are going to benefit from it since they're all very rendered, very painted. Well, they have the potential to be anyway. For a long time, they've been very simply rendered. Yeah, this dragon is going to be the major confusing shape potentially. His little claw there is kind of a tell. I think that's the base of his. I'm not even sure. I think he's standing on a plinth or something. Another part of this exercise is that I am not allowed to zoom in. I've got to just stay at this zoom level and be content. And I'm also not going to render with lines like that. It's just big shapes. This is interesting. I love this. This is the interesting part of this exercise is when you have dark shapes and then you render light shapes into the dark shapes. So we got dark trees here and we got a light tree here because it's very light relative to the dark cliffside behind it. And then with these shapes all overlapping, it just kind of suggests that rocks and trees and whatnot. But I'm getting away from our dragon. Um, no, my strategy for these is pretty much just paint it to this point and then call it a day. I'm not making a piece. I'm not making art here. I'm basically just practice. It's one step away from like doing your pen drills where you just draw a series of straight lines and circles and wiggly lines and stuff. Nobody wants to hang those on their wall. It's just warm up material basically. That's my objective here. But I do want to graduate from this kind of drill to doing something with many more values in it. Okay, I need to wrap up this dragon. Whatever I'm going to do, I need to get it done so we can get to the rest of the canvas. It is beginning to look like a dragon. If you knew what you were looking at, like with this reference here, you can kind of tell what it is. And what I'm doing here totally doesn't count as lines. Okay, we got an opportunity with the sinew, actually that's bones, right? Bones in his wing to really sell the draconic features. Okay, I think a dragon's head is kind of grown on source material, but that's good enough. Okay, more big shapes. We're kind of removing the actors from this scene. We're just doing a landscape thing here, so it may seem shame since they're kind of the focal point of the original screenshot, but just that's just the exercise I'm deciding to do. We might do studies of characters, but at this This particular image, this guy would just be a blob, so very uninteresting, distracting blob. That's why we're removing him. But we got to get in and do those headstones. Yeah, you should, Dennis. That's why I was attracted to this exercise because it seems kind of lightweight, I guess. You don't have to block out a whole chunk of your day. You can just jump in and pull up a screenshot or something. Any old image you like, I guess. Just jump in. I'm trying to kind of diagnose the areas in my process that are lacking. And I think I'm just a little bit, what's the word? I'm just a little bit too loose with my brush strokes. They're not decisive enough. Now, also still really struggling with these horizontal strokes. So this is the far away background, so supposed to be very abstracted. So that's pretty much as far as I'll go there. Maybe maybe a little more. Since this shape kind of goes up here. Yeah, but that's pretty much the precise amount of detail we want in the background. It's kind of coming together. Right now, all of our headstones just look like bushes. That's the main problem. Sun's starting to shine on my side of the house. It's really warming up. Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily going to read as gravestones, even when we're done. But with this practice, you can only go so far. The goal basically is to render it right up until the point where it will make a decent YouTube thumbnail. And then I know I'm done. So thank you, YouTube, for giving me a clear objective. think we'll try and do something with these leaves. I'm here to practice, so it'd be a shame if I just avoided all the challenging stuff, right? And these headstones need more. I'm also just generally out of practice with tablets. So just even if I'm doing easy drawing, at least I'm putting in the hours of kind of muscle memorizing some digital painting techniques. Yeah, this is kind of looking like headstones to me. We need some kind of big, medium, small going on though. See, I'm getting lazy with changing the brush size. I'm just kind of making everything work with this size. This is why I need to set up my tablet. Because if I had a little shortcut to change the size, then and then I do have this shortcut, but still it's a pain. Like I need one of those little USB tools with like a dial. I don't know what they're called. They're like universal controls or something. And there's a little dial that you can use to adjust the brush size with your left hand. It'll be pretty slick. Okay, so I need to move up a size because I'm thinking in lines and not shapes. The point of this is to think in shapes. Just some leafy shapes, please. Without completely confusing our branches. I think we're gonna leave this tree pretty abstract. Like that's pretty well good in my opinion. This kind of left side. We are allowed some lines for like tiny little trees. Yeah, but I gotta move on because we've barely done anything with this other side. I want to just kind of hint at this path here. Well, I keep talking about the headstones. Let's do some headstones first. That's a very important feature. I said I was going to delete this tree, but I kind of like the way it overlaps with this pillar, so we'll bring it back at least partially. It helps us turn this right side into kind of a series of branches and foliage stuff. And all of this white space here is this foliage, so yeah, we'll kind of need to render that into and introduce some kind of geometric shapes in here, maybe. Also just want to not utilize line art, but it's kind of this line running down, which I can employ to suggest this path. Kind of exaggerate though. Mostly it's on this side. Kind of comes all the way from here, so. Yeah, that's about as much of that as you need. Okay, so this is, that cliff comes all the way, oh, and it comes across the path. This here is like a little chasm. Just now realized that. I want to bring this pillar back in. We raised it for the dragon's sake, but kind of needed for the symmetry here. There's that back. Just letting this background be very murky on purpose because it's foggy back there. We can't have detail everywhere. That's the thing about composition is you have to balance that stuff out. That's why I'm now obliterating some detail here. We kind of want the dragon to be the most detailed thing in the picture. we need a focal point. If there's no focal point, then the image will just be messy. It'll have a very uncomfortable, kind of noisy feel to it. And it's just a study, but still, if you're making art, if you're trying to learn how to do art, and composition is just one of those basic things you got to work into everything. Just a few graves in this kind of zone. Kind of too far off to do too much detail, but let's kind of introduce some geometric shapes, and that'll do enough work. Right here too. Well, this is very dark. Nebulous shapes. We got some obvious headstone action going on. This headstone here is very interesting, so let's bring that back in a big way. Like it's very suggestive of the light. Tempting to bring in like some of these leaves, but that might be, yeah, maybe we can get away with just a few, because that really sells it as a leafy overgrowth rather than just weird dark shapes. Okay, how do I feel about this? And do we need this guy? If we did want to bring him in, I'd kind of have to block in this whole area in shadows so that we could pull him out of it. So he doesn't kind of work. So yeah, we're gonna remove the actors from this scene and just have a landscape. You know, assuming this dragon is like a statue. I'm gonna fill in a little more of this so that we get this hill, this kind of cresting path. I think it's a staircase actually. And we kind of just make up the brickwork that's going on back here. Remembering to keep it loose. Not loose, but paint shapes, not lines. What is this? Is that like a little javelin or something? I feel like if we study this image long enough, we'll find some secrets for when the game comes out, maybe. I gotta admit, the sun's coming in my window in such a way that I can't really see this section too well. But I think that's an advantage, since we're just abstracting things. I did notice when I watched Strixon's video on how to go about these studies, There was a point where he got rid of the original and then just went off doing his own thing. We might have to try that in the future. You know, really kind of have faith in your own abilities and give the image your own layer. Okay. I see like a couple of discarded weapons. I think that's just part of the scenery. Is possibly like adventurers who came before you and lost. There's a bunch there too. Anyway, let me kind of lean back and look at this and think about what's missing. Second. Kind of isolate this dragon in fog. If he's his own standalone shape, then he'll stand out. And yeah, we got to do something around here. We just need more detail. Since it's close to the camera, it's supposed to be rather detailed. Let's just dive in. Making up what's behind our character. Not defaulting to simple lines, but drawing shadows. Shapes. Kind of like this level of detail. We won't do too much more than that. I feel like these little stones here, they kind of add something to it. Hmm. All right, I think we just need some twigs and then we're kind of done here. Video game trees are probably not a good study if you want to learn to draw trees, since they have to be so simplified in order to perform on your console or computer. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend using video game trees as a reference. Maybe for like stylized trees, that would work, but yeah, not in general. Okay, I've probably gone overboard with this. It's supposed to be a very simplified image, but we're kind of getting away from simplification here. So I reckon this is about done. We could definitely suggest more of a gravestone with some lines like this. Yeah, that really helps. And these birds want a piece of my stream today. Very vocal. Okay. Yeah, how do we feel about this? I do have the navigator. This is useful as a zoomed out view, which helps me kind of see things in a new light. Pretty good. Pretty good. There's just, it feels odd that this little area down here is too quiet. So we're not doing lines, not a line, just the way the shadow be. When I first looked at this, the sun was in a worse place in my room, and I thought there was a crack in the tile. Only later did I realize it's some kind of pole arm or something. So it's just going to be a crack in the tile in this version. Okay, I'm definitely falling into the line art trap, so let's step away from that. Hey, Connor. Thanks for tuning in. You've tuned in just as I'm kind of finishing up. Unfortunately. Sounds like the neighbors are starting up some music anyway, so good timing. We'll put this tree in. This tree's kind of nice. Yep. All right. That's about done. Yeah, I think that concludes it. So I don't even know how long I've been drawing for, but I'll check the old stream afterwards and figure it out. But I hope that was enjoyable for those of you who tuned in or are tuning in the future. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more. Like I said, I do plan on making it part of my routine. All goes well. Just a matter of whether I stream it or if I do it privately, you know. But I figure it's a bit of fun. Actually, I changed my mind on these gravestone lines. They look just a little bit cheap. You can keep one, and you can keep these. That's about it. Nah, changed my mind again. Okay, that's the finished piece right there. That's going to be the thumbnail. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back before too long. Not today, but, you know, in a larger scale kind of sense. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and get to my next task. So thanks again. Have a good one. And